My wife died 3 months ago. And right before she passed, she told me something that shattered everything I thought I knew about our 40-year marriage. I made a mistake, and I don't want you to make the same one. It took me 40 years to understand what she meant, and I wish I'd figured it out sooner.
You know, I never thought I'd be sitting here at 67 years old, sharing something this personal. But if my story can help even one person avoid the mistake I made, then it's worth it. My name's John, and I was married to my wife Margaret for 40 years. 40 years? That's a lifetime, right? That's what everyone told us. You two were so lucky, they'd say. 40 years together. You must have it all figured out. But here's the truth. I didn't have it figured out at all. And 3 months before Margaret passed away, she told me something that changed everything I thought I knew about our marriage, about love, and about life itself. So please, stick with me, because what I'm about to share with you, I wish someone had told me 40 years ago. Margaret and I met when we were young. I was 27, she was 25. It was one of those classic stories. We met at a friend's wedding, danced a little, and talked all night. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the woman I'm going to marry. And I did. A year later, we had our wedding. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. We didn't have much money back then, but we had each other. And honestly, that felt like enough. The first few years they were magic. We were building our life together. I was working hard, trying to build my career. Margaret was working too, and then we had our 2 kids, Sarah and Michael. Life got busy, really busy. From the outside, we looked perfect. But somewhere along the way, something changed. I didn't notice it at first. It was gradual, like watching the sunset. You don't see it moving, but suddenly it's dark. Margaret and I, we stopped really talking. Oh, we communicated. Did you pick up the dry cleaning? What time is Sarah's soccer practice? We need to fix the dishwasher. But we stopped talking. We stopped asking each other about our dreams, our fears, our hopes. We stopped being curious about each other. I convinced myself this was normal. This is what happens when you've been married for decades, right? The passion fades, you settle into a routine, and that's just life. But I was wrong. 3 years ago, Margaret was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4, and the doctors gave her maybe a year, maybe less. And suddenly, everything I thought was important, my job, my schedule, all the little things I worried about every day, none of it mattered anymore. All that mattered was time. Time with her. Margaret and I met when we were young. I was 27, she was 25. It was one of those classic stories. We met at a friend's wedding, danced a little, and talked all night. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the woman I'm going to marry. And I did. A year later, we had our wedding. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. We didn't have much money back then, but we had each other. And honestly, that felt like enough. The first few years they were magic. We were building our life together. I was working hard, trying to build my career. Margaret was working too, and then we had our 2 kids, Sarah and Michael. Life got busy, really busy. From the outside, we looked perfect. But somewhere along the way, something changed. I didn't notice it at first. It was gradual, like watching the sunset. You don't see it moving, but suddenly it's dark. Margaret and I, we stopped really talking. Oh, we communicated. Did you pick up the dry cleaning? What time is Sarah's soccer practice? We need to fix the dishwasher. But we stopped talking. We stopped asking each other about our dreams, our fears, our hopes. We stopped being curious about each other. I convinced myself this was normal. This is what happens when you've been married for decades, right? The passion fades, you settle into a routine, and that's just life. But I was wrong. 3 years ago, Margaret was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4, and the doctors gave her maybe a year, maybe less. And suddenly, everything I thought was important, my job, my schedule, all the little things I worried about every day, none of it mattered anymore. All that mattered was time. Time with her.
It was a Tuesday afternoon. I remember because, well, you remember everything about certain days, don't you? Margaret was in bed. She'd had a rough few days with the treatment, but on this particular day, she seemed lighter somehow, more at peace. I was sitting beside her, holding her hand, and we were quiet, just being together. And then she said something that stopped my heart. She said, "John, I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me." I nodded. I thought she was going to talk about funeral arrangements or, I don't know, something practical. But instead she said this. "For the last 20 years, I've felt like I was living with a roommate, not a husband." I didn't know what to say. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. She squeezed my hand and continued, "You're a good man, John. You worked hard, you provided for us. You never cheated, never lied, did anything terrible. But somewhere along the way, you stopped seeing me. You stopped asking me how I felt, what I was thinking, what I dreamed about." She wasn't angry. She wasn't blaming me. She was just telling me the truth. And the truth hurt more than anything I'd ever felt.
You know what the worst part was? She was right. I'd spent 40 years thinking I was being a good husband because I did all the right things. I worked hard. I didn't drink too much. I came home every night. I remembered birthdays and anniversaries. But I'd stopped connecting with her. I'd stopped asking the deep questions. I'd stopped being curious about who she was becoming as she grew and changed over the years. I'd assumed that because we'd been together so long, I already knew everything about her. But people change. We evolve. The woman I married at 28 wasn't the same woman at 48 or 58, and I never bothered to get to know those versions of her. I'd taken her for granted, not in a cruel way, not intentionally, but I'd stopped putting in the effort. I'd stopped pursuing her the way I did when we first met. And here's what I want you to understand. This doesn't happen overnight. You don't wake up one day and suddenly have a disconnected marriage. It happens slowly, one missed conversation at a time, one "how was your day" that gets answered with "fine," and you don't push further. It happens when you stop looking into each other's eyes when dinner because you're both on your phones. It happens when you stop going to bed at the same time because you're just not tired. It happens when you stop dreaming together about the future because you're too busy managing the present. And before you know it, 20 years have passed, and you're living with a stranger who happens to share your last name. After that conversation, everything changed. I had 3 months left with Margaret, just 3 months. And I made a decision. I was going to spend every single day really being with her, not just sitting in the same room, but actually connecting. I asked her questions, real questions. What's your favorite memory of us? What do you wish we'd done differently? What are you most proud of? What scared you the most in life? We talked about everything. Her childhood, her dreams that she'd set aside, the moments when she felt most loved, and the moments when she felt most alone. We laughed, we cried, we held each other. And you know what? In those final 3 months, I felt closer to Margaret than I had in years, maybe closer than I'd ever felt. It was like meeting her all over again, falling in love all over again. She passed away on a Sunday morning, peacefully. I was holding her hand. And her last words to me were, "Thank you for finally seeing me." So why am I telling you all of this? Because I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. If you're married or in a long-term relationship, don't wait until it's too late to really connect with your partner. Don't assume that because you've been together for years, you know everything about them. Don't let your relationship become a series of logistics and routines. Here's what I've learned. Love isn't just about staying together. It's about growing together. It's about staying curious, asking questions, really listening to the answers. It's about putting down your phone during dinner and actually looking at each other. It's about saying, "I love you," not just because it's habit, but because you mean it. It's about asking, "How are you?" No, really, how are you? Because here's the thing. We don't know how much time we have. None of us do. Margaret and I thought we had decades left. We didn't. And I'm grateful, so grateful that we had those final 3 months where we truly connected again. But I'm also heartbroken that I wasted so many years not doing that. So please, don't make my mistake. Don't wait for a diagnosis or a tragedy to wake you up. Start today, tonight, when you get home. Put down your phone. Look at your partner and ask them a real question. What's been on your mind lately? What do you need from me? How can I love you better? And then listen. Really listen. I'm 67 years old now. I live alone in the house that Margaret and I shared for 35 years. Some days are hard. Some days I walk past her favorite chair and I could almost see her sitting there, reading a book. But I'm not angry anymore. I'm not filled with regret. Because those final 3 months taught me something. It's never too late to really see someone, to really love them, to really connect. I hope my story helps you. I hope it makes you think. And I really hope, that you don't wait as long as I did. Thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, I'd appreciate if you'd share it with someone who might need to hear it. Take care of each other.